Lumbermen'S Monument on God's mighty Osable River near Oscoda, Tawas, Michigan. You know, over the years I've spent a great deal of time there, many hours, but I will share some of those moments with you just a little bit later on. First, I want to share with you the following rare movie footage. Now, this was from the looks of it, I would say 1932, 33, 34, in that era. So it runs about 14 minutes long, and this was I found on the internet, identified as having been shot in Pennsylvania. It is obviously Lumbermen'S Monument here in Michigan, but it's as I said, it runs about 14 minutes, and it's a delightful romp to times gone past. It is a wonderful look back, and I think you'll enjoy it. It looks as though some of the scenes are from nearby Iargo Springs, and I believe all of the scenes are from Michigan. And some of the other ones I recognize, some I don't. So if you recognize something, please leave a comment, because I'd love to hear from you and share that with me and share it with the other viewers, because I'm sure we'd all like to hear what, if you can identify something. I want to thank, in particular, the Prelinger Archives. They have archived so many films, both commercial and home. And home movies, they have literally hundreds of them. And they have shared them on archives.org on the net, and they're available for anybody to look at. And if you just want to take an hour or two, whatever, and peruse some of those home movies on there, there are some awesome things to really look at. So, having said that, thank you to the Prelinger Archives and to archives.org. And now let me show you a clip of the film, or let me show you the film, and I'll be back with you in just a few moments. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I know I sure did. I love it. But many of the road scenes I do not recognize, but like I said in the beginning, I'm sure that they're all here in Michigan, and probably all in the area of Lumbermen'S Monument and Iargo Springs. So let me tell you about the monument itself. First, let me say one other thing. There are scenes of the Lake Huron shoreline there too, and those would probably be Oscoda or Tawas. So, okay, having said that, the monument was dedicated to those tough and rough men who were the lumberjacks on the rivers back in the day. They felled the magnificent pine forests of Michigan, providing material that helped to fuel the expansion west of our once great nation. The magnificent bronze statue stands about 14 feet tall, and it features a log surrounded by three figures: a lumber cruiser holding a compass, and a sawyer with his saw swung over his shoulder, and of course a river rat resting his peavey upon the ground. Interesting, those long crosscut saws that the lumberjacks used. I have dug up so many of those over the years, particularly up in Harrisville on the Swamp Road site up there. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised at the abundance of them in old dump sites and home sites and such, because lumbering was a tremendously huge industry. I find a lot of the axe heads too, which are really cool. But I digress, I really do. The base of the statue is granite and is engraved with the following: erected to perpetuate the memory of the pioneer lumbermen of Michigan, through whose labors was made possible the development of the prairie states. Now, the monument was built in 1931 and officially dedicated in 1932, and I don't think the film you just saw was much later than that era. It definitely was within the 30s. But for those of you not familiar with the area, it is in the northeastern part of the Lower Peninsula of Michigan, along the Osable River, within the Huron-Manistee Forest. Now, the scenery is among the finest in Michigan, and I think the finest anywhere. It is a spot that, when I have been there, I wished I would never had to leave. It is that incredibly beautiful and peaceful. Now, its splendor is apparent in all the seasons of the year, but I remember that back in the early mid-1970s, I had two friends that were from Wordsmith Air Force Base, and they're in Oscoda, Roger and Judy Emmons, and I went with them and their two boys, Stuart and Derek, cross-country skiing out there by Lumbermen'S Monument. And I tell you what, it was exhilarating and it was exhausting at the same time, but I wouldn't have traded that experience, because even in the wintertime, the beauty of what God created is so evident there. It's just absolutely amazing. And if you've not been there, boy, I would encourage you to go. But I'll never forget either the hot summer nights and very early mornings that I would drive from Hale to Oscoda, because I worked at a short-lived newspaper there in Hale called, get this is a mouthful, the Tri-County Photo News Journal. And it had its home in the old bank building there on one of the side streets in Hale. And I would leave there sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning, and I would absolutely see no other cars from that whole way from Hale all the way out to Footsite on River Road, just a short distance then from Oscoda. And it was you really felt isolated on that road, and sometimes it was an eerie feeling driving out there all alone, with just pine trees on both sides of the road and the bright blanket of stars up above you. But there were a few times that I would pull into the Lumbermen'S Monument access area there to catch a few Z's before continuing, because I'd get really tired on the way home. And that spot at that time seemed to the ultimate isolation point that I could go to. And in that pale moonlight, sitting there falling asleep in my little Mercury Comet that I had at the time. Those bronze figures of the Lumbermen, they seem to have a dark silvery glow to them, kind of ethereal, but not eerie, not scary. And somehow I always felt protected there. And so sleep was always came easy, and I was lulled to sleep gently by the crickets and the frogs in the distance. There's no favorite sound of mine in the summer or in the spring and summer than the frogs and the crickets when they come out at night. I just love listening to that. It's like listening to some kind of choir singing praises to God out in the wilderness. I just love it. But if you decide to visit, access to the park is year-round and it's free of charge. Though I don't know how it's been affected by the COVID-19, but more than likely it has been, because what hasn't been? If you do go, though, you will never forget the beautiful vista that overlooks Cook Dam Pond and Horseshoe Island on the AuSable River, which, as I said earlier, was a major logging thoroughfare. And so it's a place that I would really encourage you for a summer trip, spring trip, fall trip. It's beautiful in the fall time with the colors turning. Absolutely breathtaking that time of the year. So I thank you all for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the film, and I hope you enjoyed my ramblings too. Please leave me a thumbs up. It makes me and Charlie Cat extremely happy. Charlie's sleeping over on the other side of this light behind me. He's kind of taken over my little part of the studio over there for his own room. So to work over there anymore, I guess I'm going to have to set up an appointment with him to be able to do that. So, you know what? I'm going to stop this for a minute, take the camera off the tripod, and I'm going to take you over, and I'm going to show you what I mean about him taking over my spot. So just a sec. Okay, I've got the camera off the tripod now, and sorry about the bright light on the floor, but this is where I used to do all my videos, and where I'm going to start doing some more. But this is the chair I use, and this is where I find my little boy Charlie sleeping most of the time now. Hey Charlie, can you say hi to everybody out there that loves you? Say hi, baby boy. This is my best little friend. This is my forever friend, because someday he's going to heaven with me. Probably not at the same time, but anyways, I just wanted to show you. He took over my space, but he's my boy and he deserves it. Okay, again, thank you for stopping by. God bless y'all, love y'all, and have a great day.